Okay, great. Just let a few more people come in. It is 3 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Great crowd today. Thank you all for coming. I'm sure you all want to know what these guys are going to be doing, other than just walking around. So we'll tell you. I'm Mark Whalen, Director of Dining. Been here about 2 months. Everybody knows Dan because everybody sees Dan walking around in the dining room. Again, Dan and I have worked together for many, many years in many different communities, most recently Asbury Methodist Village in Gaithersburg, which is about 1,400 residents. Dan's expertise is really in the front of the house in dining room operations. Mine is in the back of the house. Menu development, cooking. I actually went to culinary school with Brian Patterson, who you all know. So my expertise is definitely in the back. Dan's expertise is definitely in the front. So we've always made a pretty good pair. I will introduce to you a new young lady because she has something to do right after this. We have a new catering manager, Sarah Hand. So please welcome Sarah. She's been here just a little bit. There hasn't been a catering manager here for quite some time. There is lots of room to grow, catering, details, garnishing, plate presentation, all those things. As evidenced by the tea yesterday, there's just details that need to be paid attention to. So Sarah, we interviewed a lot of people. We're really happy to have Sarah here. So her job is to basically grow this catering business and make sure that events are special. Special events are special. So we're really glad to have Sarah here. So again, Dan's going to talk a little bit after I talk, and Alex Freeman, our wonderful dietitian, she will also do a little bit of speaking. So, what have we been working on for the last 2 months? I took a mountain of notes coming here, talked to a lot of people, asked a lot of people to do SWOT analysis for me. That's what they think our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are, and kind of put all those documents together and came up with basically a roadmap for our department to follow. With owners and timelines and things like that. I haven't even shared it with my department yet. I will do that this week. And next week it'll be shared with the Resident Dining Council. And we'll go from there. I have shared it with Teresa and Barb, and Dan and I pretty much put it together. So I'll cover some of the highlights from the plan, the business plan, and the timeline. Certainly, a la minute cooking needs to happen here. Currently, most of the cooking is cook, hold, serve. We want to get to the point where it's cook, serve, cook, serve, cook, serve. Now, we have to build our menu around that, where it's easy to do cook, serve, a la minute cooking, and it takes a lot of training. We've developed about 10 weeks of training for our back of the house staff, our kitchen staff, to be able to do a la minute cooking properly. So it's something that I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot from leadership. I've heard a lot from residents. So getting away from the larger batch cooking. Cook, hold, serve with a lot of products doesn't really work. It gets dried out. It's just not pleasant. So that's certainly something that needs to be addressed. Back of the house training, kitchen training. What is HACCP, Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points? We have to take temperatures and document temperatures on everything. Internal cooking temperatures, holding temperatures, serving temperatures, cooling, reheating, all those things. We can't serve good food unless we serve safe food. God forbid, I've never had a foodborne illness outbreak in my career, and I certainly don't want one here. So we have to refocus on training and sanitation back in the kitchen. So there's about 10 weeks of HACCP training we're going to be doing, starting very, very quickly. As well as back of the house training, front of the house training for our dining room staff. Things like personalized service, tone and body language, service delivery, payment processing, you want to make sure that your receipts are correct. Service recovery. If there's a complaint, how do we fix it? How can we fix it on the spot? How can we empower people to make things right on the spot? So that kind of training is going to start very quickly at the end of the month. I really think there needs to be a culture change in the kitchen. And the culture change, I came up with Marriott, and Mr. Marriott saying is something that is now posted in our kitchen. The answer is yes. What is the question? That is an old Marriott saying. So I want to say yes. I hate to tell you no. I don't want to tell you no. I want to find a way to say yes. Sometimes I'll have to tell you no, but I'll certainly give you alternatives to that no. But I think what we need to drive as a culture in the kitchen, in the back of the house, in the front of the house is the answer is yes, what is the question? And drive that culture of service. The other thing that we have in our kitchen now is our residents are VIPs. Are we ready to serve them? And when you keep talking about that and you keep pressing that, then people start to live it. And our kitchen staff start to live it, and they start to believe it, and you start to see it. Our residents are VIPs. Are you ready to serve them? I think those are our two core values in the kitchen. Again, we talked about HACCP documentation. That is temperatures, recording temperatures. We need to do better on that. We need to do some diversity training for our staff, quite honestly. Conflict resolutions, microaggressions, and unconscious bias. That is how our staff interacts with each other as well as interacts with you. To the food part, daily chef specials. We do a weekly chef special now. To me, that's not really chef special, that's a menu item. Daily chef specials. So DeMonte, our very talented sous chef who works generally at night, can look through our refrigerators and walk-ins and say, Chef, Derek, this is what I want to do for a chef special tomorrow. Or Derek comes up with a chef special, or I come up with a chef special. There'll be limited quantities. We'll have a chef special until it's gone, because it'll be a true chef special. It'll be a daily chef special. We're looking at starting that sometime around the first week of November. Plate presentation and garnishing. Really, really important to me. The way the plates look and a proper garnish on the plate. I've heard that a lot from many people. By the end of the month, we're going to be implementing that. Action stations, we generally do, Dan and I generally do Thursday action stations. And they're kind of pop-up action stations in the dining room. You have to come to the dining rooms to get it. But there'll be different things like a ramen bar, or an ice cream sundae bar, or churros, or different things like that where it's interactive cooking, where somebody is out there talking to you. We make homemade cookies and make some ice cream sandwiches out of it, and there's different things to roll in it, like sprinkles and chocolate chips. So just fun little things like that break up the monotony and keep it fun. We want to make dining interesting and fun for you. You live here. Nutritional information on everything. Other than chef specials, we can't do that because they're just going to create them. The rest of the stuff, we get menus from a menu database. But I've heard this a lot from residents that the nutritional information is spotty. It's on some things, it's not on other things. So making the nutritional information very complete for what we're serving you. Menu descriptions with common understandings. You might not know what chicken piccata is, and you might. So we need to explain to everybody what the common understanding of food is. If we put bibimbap on the menu, which is a Korean dish, I mean, probably most of you won't know what it is. We need to explain to you what it is so you understand what you're eating. So using common terms to explain what's on the menu. Fillmore Lounge, happy hours. We did the first one yesterday. We had about 25 people. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yes, we know that will conflict with other things that you do, but please try to come. We want to make the Fillmore Lounge a more interesting place. What we envision is doing steakhouse nights in there, pub nights, Julia Child's classics, seafood nights, Tuscan nights, things like that. It's a beautiful dining room. It's very underutilized. It's open all the time now. When we first got here, it wasn't open. It's open all the time. So really making that environment, it's beautiful. The outdoor patio, the little bird bath out there, it's awesome. So really promoting that dining room more. But the happy hours are happening now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Comment cards. You've probably noticed there's comment cards out there now. No, we're not going to take the book away from you. I know everybody likes the book, but some people really don't want to write in the book because then somebody's going to watch them write and they'll see what they wrote and you know. So comment cards. There's comment cards in all venues now. Please fill them out. When I come in the morning, the comment cards are on my desk because Dan knows the standards because we've worked together forever. The comment card, he gets here before me. Comment cards are on my desk and the first thing I do is read the comment cards. So we read them. Dan reads them, initials them, I read them and initial them. We will give them to the chef. We will give them to Alicia. Everybody will read them and initial them. So we do read them. If you write something bad about someone, we're not going to fire them. We'll have a conversation with them and we'll try to make them better. Conversely, if you write something good about someone or something, we will definitely share that in our team member meetings. We will celebrate successes. That's very important. As you can probably imagine, it's not an easy business. We're the food people. If there's 50 people in the room, your mother's made meatloaf 50 different ways. That is just the way it is. It's never going to change. We are the food people. We understand that. We're good with that. So we're good with constructive criticism, and we're really good with, hey, I really like this. So we do read the comment cards. We do take them seriously. They're in all the venues now. There's a box that you can put them in, so nobody can read them. And then I share the comment cards with Teresa, so Teresa will read them too.
You read the ones off the Uniguest also, right?
We do read the ones off Uniguest, yes. We want as many different avenues for you to talk to us as possible. Email, phone call. If we're in the office, our doors are open, come sit down, have a conversation. You can ask me anything, I'm pretty much an open book. Dan, not so much, but. Sure, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. The question was, can we get some good writing utensils? We'll work on that. Kitchen tours. So we've done a bunch of kitchen tours, and we will continue to do kitchen tours until you're sick of kitchen tours. It will happen. We will get, now everybody wants to go, and we're going to do more and more of them. Trust me, there will be a time when everybody's seen the kitchen, and it's no big deal. So we will spread them out a little bit for newer residents. But if you've never been in a kitchen, this kitchen is open 365 days a year, 7 days a week. It's just like 7-Eleven, it never closes. So when you understand the sheer volume of food that comes through these doors, it's pretty remarkable. So we will continue with the kitchen tours. Alex is going to talk a little bit more about whole grains, but we need to add more whole grains. So, blue zones, Alex is going to talk about blue zones a little bit later. Menu revisions. I like it when the menu changes. Generally, I want to change 20 to 30% of the menu every 2 months or 3 months. That keeps it much more interesting for you. So we want to hear, those comments. If you don't like something, if one person doesn't like something, there's probably nothing wrong with the food. It's personal preference. If 10 people say, hey, this chicken curry, by the way, was no good, which more than 10 people told me it wasn't very good, we're either going to change the recipe or we're not going to do it again. There's plenty of stuff out there to do. So again, we want to change 20 to 30% of that menu every 2.5 months. Again, we talked about Sarah a little bit, growing the catering business. We quite honestly, we want to restore faith in the catering business. We want to, if there is a memorial service, if you have a milestone birthday, if you want to get together with 20 friends and do something cool and do a really nice menu, we want you to have faith in us that we're going to bring it for you. Right now, I think there's a lack, quite honestly, of that faith. We have to restore that faith.
Right.
So Sarah is going to be really in charge of growing our catering business. We'd like to get some people from the outside here too, that are like, the Alzheimer's Association, the American Heart Association, do a couple things for them when there's room. It just brings more revenue to the community, and I can give you more stuff on your plate. I've said it many times before, I'll say it many times again. I know where the money comes from. It comes from you. My check says Goodwin Living. I know who pays me. You do. I want to be a wise steward of your money. I really do. It's very, very important to me. I want to spend your money wisely, and I want to do the best for you that I can and put it on your plate. Now again, there are hundreds of different personal preferences in this community of 340 people, and that's okay. Some things we can do, most of the things we can do, some things we can't. But hopefully the answer is yes. What is the question? Chef's tables, probably one of the most popular things that me and Dan used to do. We would do a lottery for residents. We would keep it small, 16 people, charge you a little bit of money for it, but we would do a 5 or 6 course dinner with a wine pairing and really, really, really elevate it to a very high level, make it an event. I would cook it, chef would cook it, get Brian in here to cook, maybe get some people from outside of the community, some local chefs to cook. But it was very, very popular. It was all done by lottery, and we do those 6, 7, 8 times a year. Certainly one of the most popular things we did because the food was so elevated and people would dress up and it was really an event. So those will be coming soon. We're going to wait till the spring on that. We have other more pressing things to do. I've heard from residents lactose-free desserts. I just spoke to Alex about that, offering more desserts that don't have 3 inches of cream on it. It's okay if you like 3 inches of cream, we'll still have it just for those that are trying to watch their lactose and milk intake. We want to get to the point we have down here in early spring doing Sunday brunch every Sunday. And make it an event where you're going to bring your families and you're going to bring your grandkids, and there's stuff for them to do and there's stuff for them to eat, and just making Sunday brunch on a grander scale. We also want to expand the offerings in the Fillmore Market. Right now there's, 3 or 4 sandwiches in there. We want to expand what you can buy there. People have said healthier snacks. People have said frozen items. There's no freezer in there currently. So we want to expand those. We're going to survey you all, the residents, on what you want in there. But certainly different sandwich offerings, different salad offerings, hot sandwiches, things like that. And again, making it fun and keeping it different. Carry-out orders. What I wrote down was accuracy, timeliness, presentation regarding carry-out orders needs improvement. Yeah. Waiters tables. This is something that Dan came up with many years ago. Maybe he did, maybe he stole it from somebody. He didn't? That was original?
Somebody else may have done it.
Yeah. If you steal from me, you've stolen twice, because I've definitely stole it from somebody else. So waiters tables. Waiters tables would be something that you sign up for, you pay your normal meal, and you have a meal with one of our servers, and you really get to know them. It's fun and it's popular. Dutch lunches, we will do Dutch lunches for dining. Me, Dan, Alex, Sarah, Chef, Damonte, people in the back of the house in the kitchen that you may not know or you may not ever see. So we will definitely do those, as well as cooking demos, doing some fun little cooking demos where we can cook in front of you for those that are interested, and you learn how to cook it. A lot of people still cook in their apartments. Other kind of fun things, we've done recipes from home. It's been something very popular for us in the past, where you give us a recipe, we will sit down and talk to you to make sure that we don't screw the recipe up or not put something in it that needs to be in it. And we will feature it in the dining room. And then at the end of the year, we put together a little cookbook of everybody's recipes that submitted recipes. Adding an additional soup. There's two things in retirement communities that are very, very important as far as food. What's the first one? Ice cream. Ice cream. Wine here, yeah. Soup. Soup is the second one, especially in the winter. So I have heard you on the ice cream. We need to offer all the ice cream flavors, and when you say you have it, you need to have it. I've certainly heard you on the ice cream. Soups, what we want to do is offer a soup for the week, which would be a traditional soup. A tomato soup, a chicken noodle soup, a vegetable soup, a barley soup, and then add a different soup every day. So you get two choices on soups. All subject to the dining council veto on that too. They have the power of veto. And new resident dining orientation. We are calling new residents when they come in now. We are explaining to them the services that we offer, but getting all those new residents together on a quarterly basis and just kind of doing what we're doing right now, having a Q&A, and of course anybody can come. I was going to turn it over to Dan, but he's already run for the hills, so I'll turn it over to Al. Does anybody have any questions of me? Yes. I'm going to have to repeat your question so the TV can.
Have you changed venues or where you resource your food?
No. The question was, have we changed vendors? So there's a lot of vendors. I actually looked at invoices today so I could understand the vendors, and I found it very interesting, the wide variety of vendors that Chef uses, which I think is very good. Where we came from, we were contractors. We worked for Sodexo. They told us who we could buy from and what we could buy. Here it's not like that. It's wide open. So no, we have not changed vendors. Yes.
I have the microphone.
I think everything you said sounds wonderful and very ambitious, and I hope it all comes to fruition. But
Me too.
The thing
I
that,
might be retiring early if not.
the thing that keeps popping into my mind is staff. And oftentimes, when we're in the bistro or wherever, we're looking for somebody to come and get this or get that or refill this. And all of those things you're saying just sounds like staff is going to be needed. Is there going to be a lot of discussion about that?
Nope. I can tell you unequivocally, there is enough staff here. There is enough staff in the back. I've been doing this long enough. There is enough staff in the back. There is enough staff in the front. It comes down to training and expectations and follow-up. That is what's needed. Dan would be the first one to tell me there's not enough staff in the front. He's never said that to me. There's enough staff in the front. It's about re-energizing them and training them properly and holding them accountable. To be perfectly honest.
I wish you guys would have your pictures in the directory. You're the only one. You don't have your picture. She doesn't have her.
My picture?
You're not in the
On touchdown.
staff directory.
Oh, okay.
You are.
All right. I'm not sure how to make that happen, but we'll make it happen.
If you have a picture.
I probably have a picture. Again, voice and face for radio, not for television.
Quick question, have you looked at revising the menu that's distributed, which is largely unintelligible for many of us to do this?
My friend Alex Freeman over here, our wonderful dietitian, she's going to take care of you on that in about 2 minutes.
And I will
Have you considered adjusting some of the time schedules for meals? I know that like the bistro is supposed to be available 24/7, or not 24/7, but from whatever, but in fact it is a ghost town for a good part of the day. I think that meal turnover from breakfast to lunch could happen possibly a little easier than changing everything.
I agree. Technically, it's open all the time, but it is a ghost town. Yeah. Before lunch, and then you're yelling for somebody. So we have not spoken about that, but I'm glad you brought it up, because now we will.
Yes, it's on.
Hold it to your face.
Okay, this is partially my.
Can't hear it. Into your mouth.
Right here.
Ice cream.
Okay, talk.
Okay.
This is partially my fault, but most of the time I eat in the bistro, but I always take my dessert to go. And so I'm there having a dinner and drinking my wine. And then I get up to my apartment and I realize that I've never been served my to-go dessert. And I can't tell you how consistently this happens. So I'm concerned that, and the staff is great. I'm not picking any one person out or anything like that. But why does this happen so frequently? I mean, is this something that they need to be trained on reading the entire menu? Or, I'm sure this is not.
We can't hear her.
Hear you. I'm sure this is not, I'm not the only one that's happening.
Yeah, so what she was saying is, she eats in the bistro and she usually gets her dessert to go, and then when she gets home, she realizes that she wasn't given her dessert to go. So I can see Dan taking notes on that, and we'll certainly, it is training. It's training.
I have a question. In the dining room, on the menu, always available, is there a possibility that we could possibly add hamburger? So often, I don't care for the particular menu, or I can't eat what's on the menu. You can get an omelet. Is there a possibility that we could add a hamburger on that? Sometimes people just would like a hamburger in the dining room.
Yeah, sure. I actually read a comment card on that this morning, that somebody said, Why can't we have hamburgers and hot dogs occasionally, or hamburgers and hot dogs always available? It's not, it's, you know, yeah. It is on the menu for always available? Oh, we turn it over. Not in the dining room. Yeah, sure.
Was just put on a salt-free diet. How do I know what food has the least amount of salt in it?
So Alex will answer that question. You want to come up and answer it now?
All right, so first off, I am everyone's dietitian in the building, so if you do ever have any concerns about sodium or carbohydrates, or really anything related to food, please call me, we can set up an appointment. But if you feel comfortable figuring out exactly how much sodium you need with each meal, the best way to find that information is on the nutrition facts that we have on Uniguest. So for the Week at a Glance menu, and hopefully in the future for all items, the sodium content is listed up there. All you have to do is click on Tuesday lunch, and you can see what the sodium options are for the soups, the sides, the vegetable, or the entrees, desserts, everything. So it's a really helpful way to meal plan.
Over here. Go ahead. Back to hamburgers. Wait, hold it up to
Back to hamburgers. Is there any way to get, when you do cook to serve, to get a medium rare of the beef red hamburgers? I have never, no matter how many times I ask, I have never gotten a medium rare.
There isn't, unfortunately. That is a no. So for our HACCP guidelines, it is 165 for ground beef. You can go out in the world in the restaurant and get that, but that's one thing that I cannot give you. That is more of a state regulation, so no.
I just have one comment, which goes back to the fact that the staff is not available. One Saturday, I had to wait a couple of hours.
That's okay.
Hold it close.
I had to wait a couple of hours for a certain pickup. And the two of us who were waiting, it was about 10 o'clock. And I have to say, Burger was very, very responsive in getting us something to eat, because we had not had anything in the morning at all before we started our efforts of the day. So I would just like to compliment the staff, particularly Burger.
Thank you. I am going to turn it over to, what? I'm going to turn it over to you.
Two more.
This is for Alex. You just said that we should go to the ingredients section. But if you look at the ingredients section, it says 3 ounces of such and such. And I've never served
Can't hear it.
anything. I mean, it's usually a large amount. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying, how do I measure it at my table? 3 ounces if I need to watch my carbs or salt. I mean, it's difficult.
That's a great question. So the question was, on the nutrition facts, a lot of the portion sizes are in ounces or half cups, and truthfully, we don't have measuring cups in front of us. So a quick answer for most people, 3 ounces is about the size of your palm. But visual cues are really helpful. So what I can do in our upcoming kitchen chatter is do a little piece on what does serving size look like. So what, 1 ounce is 2 dice together. So even if, you don't know exactly how much is in front of you, you kind of know what 2 dice looks like together. You know what a deck of cards looks like. Hopefully that helps. But it also does come down to training. So training our staff too, that, we are telling our residents that we're serving a 4 ounce piece of fish. What does 4 ounces look like? There is always going to be some variability. We cannot do a perfect job every time of getting the exact ounces right, but it does help to estimate. Great question.
Wait, With the recipes, when you give the staff the recipes, are they bound to follow them, or do they salt and season at will?
They are bound to follow them, and that is something that we have been training
Then
them
we
on.
need to work for lower sodium recipes.
Yes.
There's
So that-
salt and pepper on the table. You can
Yeah.
always add salt. You can't take it back out.
So that is something that we have changed as
Goes
well.
with Tabasco sauce also.
Yep. So one of the changes that we have made most recently is we have taken the salt and butter out of all of our vegetable recipes unless it's like a mixed dish. So, and our broccoli before. So
Soup.
all of our bases are low sodium for soup. There's always going to be a certain amount of sodium in a soup, but yes, we always use a low sodium base. And I put the recipes in myself. So I will go on, I'll find a recipe that we are interested in, and I'll look at the sodium and I will either eliminate it or modify it. Because you're right, we can add salt at the table. So any new recipes that you see are low in sodium. We've also
Salt
added,
at the table.
exactly, we've also added the low sodium designation. So for people who are interested in monitoring their sodium, we will guarantee moving forward that there's always one low sodium entree that you can choose from on the menu. And that is going to be under 600 milligrams of sodium. So you can see that there.
Question here.
I eat in the bistro 3 or 4 times a week. I always get something to carry out, and it's always brought right away before the salad or with the salad. I always check it. On rare occasions, something's wrong. I never have trouble getting my to-go items.
That seems like it would be the way to do it, so you could check it and look at it, but, yeah, thanks. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Alex, since she's standing right here. She has a couple of things for you, and then Dan will finish up.
Hi, everyone. I think I know everyone here, but in case I don't, my name is Alex. I am the dietitian. And when Mark and Dan came on board, they said, in a perfect world, what would you want changed? And the thing that I hear most frequently from new residents, as well as residents who've been here for a long time, is that the menu is confusing. That we look at it, we don't know what we can eat, where we can eat, and people will go to the wrong dining venues. So I posed this problem to Mark and Dan came up with a beautiful solution, and then our marketing and communications team kind of gave it some life. So I want to introduce our new menu to you. This will start on Monday. The menu format will change. So it'll be bigger font and a lot more visibility. So, moving forward, can everyone see this? This is just lunch, and it's titled Lunch at the Bistro. It will say the date range. It will still have the icons, vegetarian, low sodium, made without gluten and dairy free, and will list the soup of the day, the salad of the day, the entrees, the sides, and the desserts. It will be in a much larger font, and will essentially be the lunch options previously on that We Get a Glance menu. We will also have the chef specials portrayed with that as well. So there'll be a page front and back just for the bistro. So in the bistro what the chef special is, what the fish option is. And there will be one more change that you will see with this as well. And that is for the vegetarian specials. We are not getting rid of the vegetarian specials, but we are giving it kind of new life. Is anyone familiar with the blue zones?
Yes.
Yeah, a couple people are. It's something I'm really passionate about, and I've done a few classes with for our residents about it. And it's areas in the world where people are living longer, better than ever. So the rates of people living into their 100s is 10 times higher in these pockets of the world. So for people who are familiar with the blue zones, what this will look like is a change in our menu to recipes from Greece, from Italy, from Okinawa in Japan, from Costa Rica, as well as Loma Linda, California. But if you are unfamiliar with the blue zones, I would love to give everyone kind of a little orientation to it, or if you've heard of them in the past, but you need a little bit of a refresher. So this Friday in the auditorium, so right here, right now, Friday from 2 to 3, I'll be doing a little kind of lecture about what they are, And it impacts us because this will be a whole special of our menu moving forward. So every week we'll pick a new Blue Zone special. These are still going to be plant-based specials, so if you are a vegetarian, I am not taking away your vegetarian option, but it is focused more on like health and longevity based on these areas of the world where we're seeing these recipes are making a difference in people's lives. Any questions about that?
You mentioned that,
Put it right up like an ice cream cone.
you mentioned that menus for the bistro.
Yes.
Now what about the menus for the mixing bowl?
Yes, sorry, I meant for the Blue Zone specifically. We will also have, we'll do questions at the end. But yes, we'll also have dinner in the Alexandria in the mixing bowl as a separate sheet. It will be front and back. And then again, it will have the specials for the week as well as the Chef Weekly specials. So that will be listed there as well, along with the sides. So we've heard you. I know that is a change that is long overdue.
It's like so much paper.
It's going to be one additional sheet every day because it will be front and back. But I think the importance of giving that information is so necessary. It is the number one thing that I hear every new resident, as well as, like I said, residents who've been here for years say, I don't understand.
Will we be able to get paper copies?
I believe so. Yes, we will be able to get paper copies.
Of all of the menus?
Yes.
How are they gonna be distributed? Every day?
This is above my pay grade. Oh, the menus, I believe the same way that they're already distributed.
Same way as now.
Yeah, same way.
Pardon?
Same way as now.
Front desk?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. The last thing that I have is, the other thing that I hear residents say is they're looking for more whole grain options. And I do think that is something that we are lacking. It's an area of improvement on our menu. So one of the things moving forward, Chef Derek and I are going to be focused on is how to add more whole grains. Whole grains are so important. They help with our fiber. They help with our satiety, which is like that feeling of fullness. Helps decrease our risk of heart disease. Helps manage our diabetes if we have that. So it's a really easy thing that we can add on. So look for more whole grains coming up. We're not taking away your white rice, but we will be adding some more healthy options for those who are interested. And that's it for me. Does anyone have any questions?
Alex, will this include 100% whole grain wheat bread?
Yeah, this,
100%.
we hope so, yes. That's a Chef Derek question. He knows what we can order, but that's my hope, obviously.
It's significant because when it's just stated as whole grain, it's 51% or 50 and less, and
Yes.
not 100.
So the question was, are we going to have 100% whole grain? Because if you get something that is whole grain, it just says whole grain, it could be 51% whole grain and mixed in with 49% white flour or like enriched flour. So the hope is that 100% whole grain really gives you the most bang for your buck when it comes to wheat products.
So the answer is yes.
Yes. We will find one.
What's your question?
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna look at additional vendors to bring in more whole grain, like whole grain rolls, in the dining room, not just, wheat. That doesn't mean anything anymore. Or wheat that's tons of honey in it. So yes, we're gonna look for additional vendors, hopefully local vendors, to supply us with 100% whole grain breads and rolls and things like that.
Thank you.
Alex, will there still be a bistro trifold menu where you could order all sorts of things?
Yes, we're not taking that away. This is just for the weekly specials. So that one-page menu that you get every day where lunch is in the bistro and dinner is in the mixing bowl and the Alexandria, that's going to be the one that changes. As of now, we believe that assisted living and Stonebrook will still have the same appearance of the week at a glance menu.
And I appreciate the gluten-free toast and the gluten-free buns especially, but they need to be toasted because they fall apart.
Absolutely. Okay. Did you have a question?
Did you, Mrs. Jones?
Or garlic and the garlic bread.
Yes.
Repeat the question.
Get more
All
garlic.
right, well, thank you so much, I appreciate you.
Okay, I saved the best for last, I don't know. I'll be brief, and the reason I'll be brief is I prepared an agenda to talk about, and when Mark was up here, he pretty much covered all of it. So I just have some details to add to some of the items that Mark mentioned very quickly. The happy hour is Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the Fillmore. Please come and join us. I think everybody who came, the 25 who came last night had a good time, and we'd be happy to have that continue. It was one of the first things I heard when I came here, why can't we have a happy hour? Why we have a bar? Why can't we have a happy hour? So we're going to do it now. We're going to maintain it, and I just hope and I encourage people to come to the bar and have a good time. The comment cards, I'm just going to say one thing that Mark omitted. The boxes are locked. I have the key. So if you write a comment and you put your name on it and you put it in that box, nobody else can go in there and see it. Kitchen tours, they've been very popular. Derek, I think, does an outstanding job leading the kitchen tours. We will keep doing them, as Mark indicated, until people get tired of them. I have been educated very recently about the proper way to do the sign-up sheets. I think I was remiss in that, because I found that people were making their own sign-up sheets and putting them in the box. So I understand now the time and the date that those sign-up sheets should go in place. Just to know, we will do 2 tours a month. We will take 6 people through at one time. I would love to be able to do 25 at a time, but once you come through that kitchen, you will realize that's impossible. 6 is about the max, but we will keep them up. The waiter's table Mark mentioned. There's 2 purposes to that, and the sign-up sheet for that will go out on Monday at 10 a.m. The first purpose is just to have an opportunity to get to know one of our staff members without them running here and running there and running here and doing this. You can sit down, there's no agenda, there's no plan to it, just sit down and talk. They get to know you, get to know them. There's an ulterior motive though too also. From the server's perspective, they get to see what you experience. How does the dining room look from a seat? How does service look? What do they observe during the service while they're sitting there having conversations? So we will follow up with them and use their feedback in our training. And the last thing, but it's something I heard very much from residents from day one. We have Volante Eats, which you can use to order online through your devices. I've heard that many people have struggled with getting access to that. And I admit, Brian put together a nice cheat sheet for me about how to do that. Problem is there's 22 steps. So I struggle with it, getting it over my phone, and I don't even use it. So what we're going to start on the 28th is residents will be able to sign up for appointments with our dining supervisors or managers. Monday through Friday, 1 appointment at 2, 1 appointment at 2:30 in our dining services office next to the clinic. And then you may come down at that time, and whomever is available, because they're all of them are younger than me, so all of them know a lot more about devices than I do. And they will help you get Volante Eats on your tablet, on your phone. If you'd like to have it on your desktop, we can arrange for, at that time, for them to come to your apartment if you're comfortable with that. But what I've heard is a lot of people would love to use Volante Eats, but can't get it going. And I understand. I had trouble too. So look for those sign-up sheets, and again, that's something we'll keep going until people stop signing up. So I hope that people will take advantage of that, and that's all I have unless there's any questions.
I just have one comment or question regarding the most important item on your food list, which was mentioned, and that's the ice cream. We have one ice cream list, and if the staff really wants to get out on time, you might consider getting more or some way for people to know what the ice cream list is at the end of the meals, so that you don't have the servers running around and then trying to find where it is. I know it's at the bottom of your priority list, but
No, nothing's at the bottom. We'd never say that. But that's a very good point. Once I sit down, I'm gonna make a note of that, and we'll look into how we can do that better.
Yeah, yes. Is there any thought at some time in the future to changing the policy of always requiring a reservation before you can eat in the dining room?
We've certainly given that thought. Quite honestly, we didn't put it in as part of our plan. So I wouldn't say, I wouldn't put a timeline on that. I wouldn't commit to anything, unfortunately, at this time, but it's certainly something we can consider. Our big challenge, I know, with not having we certainly have the capacity right now to seat everybody who wants seated service between the Alexandria, the Fillmore, and the Arbor Room. The challenge comes in if everybody comes in all at once, and we're doing weighted service. That's quite honestly the biggest advantage to having reservations ahead. So we can kind of control the flow, and so we don't have 30 people come in and 2 servers, and most of the residents have to wait a long time for their dinner. So I would say we'll give some thought to that. Something else I'll make a note of. I won't commit to changing it. It's certainly a good thought.
Sort of an add-on to that, with the Libro system, it works very well, and when you go in and use the Libro system, it says every 15 minutes, you know, how many tables, if you put
Right.
4 people, 6 people, whatever is available. But you have to wait 2 days to find out if you actually get your table, in which room you're in, and where the table is. If you're in the Arbor or the Fillmore or the whatever, you don't know. It doesn't make dining nice when you don't know until 25 minutes before you meet your guests where you're supposed to be going.
That's certainly a valid comment. I will talk to the Libro support people and see if there's something we can do to.
I think it has
correct
to
that.
do with staffing.
No, I don't think it does. As Mark mentioned, we have plenty of, one thing we're not short of here, very honestly, and I was shocked and happily surprised when I came here, is almost no vacancies. We come from a community where the servers were basically a revolving door, and we were frequently short of servers in particular, not to mention other positions. Here, staff is not an issue. Don't let anybody tell you that. Don't let anybody tell you that. So no, that would not be the reason.
In the last 2 weeks, I've called twice to make dinner reservations. And according to the rules, you're supposed to get a call by 3 o'clock. In neither case did I get a call at all until I went downstairs to the bistro last week and said, what time are my reservations and where are they? And it makes it very inconvenient if you have to let your guests know when and where they're going to be eating if you don't get a call by 3.
Again, you're completely right. So I will follow up with the members of the team that are responsible for that. Because that's a very reasonable expectation, a very reasonable request. So I will follow up on that.
We have a design firm that's looking at how to
Anita, into your mouth.
change.
Into your mouth, like an ice cream cone, that close.
We have a design firm that's looking at all the common areas, how to improve them, redesign them. Is anyone thinking about getting us some better acoustics in the dining areas?
Yes, very much so. I was in the meeting with, I believe it's HCM this morning, and that question did come up, and that's definitely, any changes that are made, that will be taken into consideration. That's, especially, quite honestly, in senior dining, that's always a concern. So yes, that is being taken into consideration.
Dessert, a very important item here.
Can't hear you.
I'm not speaking. basically, you ask for ice cream, they have to do a day trip to get to the sacred card, bring it back to your table, then they have to go all the way to the back of the building to go get your ice cream, and it's like a day trip. So it'd be nice if they could move a freezer or an ice cream station a little closer, so it'll save on the wait staff and improve their overall productivity.
Well, we actually did that last week. We actually moved it from where it was as close as we could get it to the bistro without putting it in the bistro. So you should see improvement in that area. If not, we'll have to think of something else.
Yes, is there a way of having staff check what you've ordered in the bistro on the menu selection against what is actually on the plate and brought to the table?
Well, that's the job of the person who is the expediter. So the short answer to that is yes. What we've asked them to do on carryout meals is to initial the receipt that's included with your bag. So you should, and I have spot checked and seen initials on those bags saying that they have been checked. As far as to the table, no, but that's something, we talked about front of the house training and back of the house training. That really kind of overlaps that because that role is kind of in both areas. But that will definitely require more training. But there is a person responsible for that. Now, from what I'm hearing, the feedback, especially when I first came here, that's not always happening correctly. But it's an issue we're certainly aware of.
While we're talking about carry-out meals, I'm granting all of you amnesty to bring me back my reusable containers, please.
Second that.
I just wanted to say thank you because this is 100% change in attitude about dining and look forward to the great improvements.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would echo that. My question, Dan, is if there's sufficient servers around, how is it that somehow they don't make a pass to refill drinks or get dessert orders?
That's a training. That's not a staffing shortage issue. That's a training issue. It's going to require constant reinforcement, constant observation, and constant people being held accountable to that.
And what part does the resident play in that compared to the dining staff?
Well, I would say zero. It's our responsibility to serve you. So no, we should be refilling your drinks. We should be checking back. We should be doing all those things that you would expect in a restaurant. So quite honestly, I would say you have zero responsibility as far as that's concerned.
So when will we start to see improvements in that?
Well, we're already, again, that's always going to be an ongoing thing. That's an ongoing effort. And we require, as I said, training, reinforcement, accountability, and then start again with reinforcement.
Yeah. So when we put this plan together, which is certainly subject to change, we tried to be very thoughtful and mindful of it. It's ambitious, it's aggressive. Change happens, we have to stay on people. Quite honestly, in the back of the house, in the front of the house, things have been a little bit too loose for me. A little bit too casual, a little bit too loose, and it really needs to change, but we have to change the culture. And we have to be professionals around our team members so they can emulate professionalism. You probably see that. You probably see Dan running around the dining room all the time. So we want to be really mindful of change, and sometimes change is not easy for you all or easy for our team members. So we want to be very mindful of that, and things will happen. Some things we want to happen really rapidly. Low-hanging fruit, yes, we can do this, let's do it, let's go. And other things we have to be more calculated and more mindful of, and they will happen more slowly. Training, again, is one of those things that has to happen all the time. It's very much needed in the front of the house and the back of the house. And it's an ongoing thing. Because we can't take our people and sit them down for an hour and train them. We have like 20-minute windows where we can do that, 15-minute windows. So it's an ongoing thing, and setting those expectations and quite honestly holding people accountable to them. So that's the way the world works. Still. The question is, can we have server of the month? Yeah, we could. But what we're going to do with those comment cards, where you say something good about somebody, which probably 3/4 of the ones we've already gotten back, like we know you love Miss Kathy in the mixing bowl. Know that. Lots of Miss Kathy comment cards. You got it. So we will share those. We will share those with the rest of our team members on the good things that you say. So sure.
Seco Awards.
Oh, Seco Awards, sure. We share Seco Awards, we will do Seco Awards. Where we came from, it was CARES Awards. And we mandated all of our leadership team in dining that they're gonna do one a week. And in our weekly management meetings, we would read them. So we would have to push people to recognize people at first, and then it just became second nature. Last question, we're at 4 minutes after 4.
I'm sympathetic to the idea that the staff should have a casual Friday, if you will, but have you thought about changing it to not Friday? Because to me, Friday is more of a formal time, it's a wine night, and people have guests coming in more often.
I believe that would be a Miss D'Agostino question. Mrs.
Friday's TGIF.
I know we're doing this Goodwin Living throughout all of Goodwin Living, so let me bring that up to see if we can find another day. And you have a very good point.
It is a good point.
It'd be easier to recognize the specific staff in the bistro, for instance, or actually even in the Alexandria room, if you were served by the same staff, if you were served by the same person who took your order and fulfilled your order and refilled your order, which would be zones, your tables would be in zones. And it is not. It's like freewheeling, people are waiting back by the hot thing to get the next thing to come out.
Actually, it's very common, every restaurant that I've been to anytime recently, the person who takes my order is not the person who runs the order out.
That's right, that's right.
That's extremely common. And the other thing is, once you put people in zones, especially in the bistro, which is open seating, Mark might have a station that's getting slammed, and I might be over here with a station, and it's a ghost town.
Doesn't mean that you can't help.
Doesn't mean that you can't help, but it's
good management on the floor.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. But when you have a situation of open seating and people are coming in without a host, without reservations, and sitting down as they choose, in the bistro, that works better for us.
So it's unattractive to be going this way all the time.
Well, I agree with that. You shouldn't have to be doing that. I mean,
We all do it.
We all do it.
every server there is a...
How many people have had to wait for service?
We got a question over here. It's one more. Yeah, one more. She's been waiting.
How are decisions,
Hold it like an ice cream cone.
how are decisions made regarding portion size?
Well, the recipes that we use have a standard portion size. That's where how our system gauges the nutritional information is based on X number of ingredients, amount of ingredients, and a portion size.
Yeah, I guess I'm not clear. At the top of the menu, it says small, medium, large.
Oh, in the bistro.
And it doesn't seem to matter. You get one size.
I think that's probably pretty subjective, quite honestly, about the server.
Small, medium, and large.
Depending on what it is, yes. Okay, I think we have exceeded we've gone into overtime.
No.
Oh, please, we all want to hear the answer to this.
Okay, after this question, I'll be available, Mark will be available on the sidelines.
Sorry, it took me forever to come up with a question. But when I have dinner in one of the dining rooms, it invariably takes 2 hours. Now, is that a reasonable expectation, or can we get it down to a quicker meal, turnaround? Still gracious, but quicker.
That sounds too long.
2 hours.
Is that a common experience?
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm hearing a mixed reaction. But I would say, if it's 2 hours, let me know. Let me know. My business card is in every venue. It's got everything on there except my home address. So
I can give that to you.
yeah, and he has that. But you'll have to deal with my wife. So, feel free to get in touch with me directly. We have a lot of avenues for feedback. We have the comment book. We try to keep the pencil sharpened. We have comment cards. We have the dining services email address. But I'm very happy for you to email me or call, and I can talk to you directly. If you leave your name in the comment book, and I can read it, I will call you back as well. So again, when there's issues like that, get to me directly. Get to me. My card is everywhere. So is his, but all right. I think we're gonna have to blow the whistle. But we'll be over here this time.